Good morning.
Morning, everybody. We've
Hi.
been sitting here like nervously awaiting the clock to tick over.
Too much.
Oh
Pressure's
man,
too much.
I actually just jumped around my lounge room to try and shake out. Like, this is a big deal today. So
Yeah, and Sandy never gets nervous, so that's
no.
like a big deal. Yeah.
Oh, well, we did it. We made it to the 28th of March and we didn't spill the beans.
I can't believe it,
Me
actually.
either. It's crazy.
A few whispers here and there, but nothing officially spilt. So I'm proud of it.
That's it. Okay, so if you're on, let us know in the comments. Hey, Amanda. So just click the StreamYard link at the top of the post so we can see your name, because we're in a software that's outside of Facebook and YouTube and all the other places where we're going live. So, so just make sure you click that StreamYard link so we know who we're talking to. Hey, Amy. Hey, Trude. Hey, Sarah. Oh, hello. Great to see so many of you on. So it turns out that 3 years ago today, we did our first ever workshop, which is crazy because we actually didn't even plan it like this. Like, I just opened my Facebook today and a memory came up of a story and I was like, oh my God, what are the chances? Today was the day.
That is so crazy. And we hadn't even launched officially properly yet, had we? Or we'd had like the Facebook page, but it was very early days. So I love it.
It was. Well, let's do a little recap before we announce everything, because it's been 3 years of amazingness and awesomeness. So, Steph, can you share the?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Let's go back to where it all began. Hey, so I was getting really emotional putting this together. It's like reminiscing. So I don't know if any of you guys remember. Let us know if you do. But this all started in August of 2018 with a video that went a bit viral when I read some really confronting fatality statistics about parents and carers of children with autism and other disabilities. And I did a video on this, and because no one was talking about it, and I was just like, this is like awful. Why is our society, why is our community not talking about this? And apparently lots of other people wanted to talk about it too, because it got shared many, many times. So this screenshot was the other day. So 3,873 times it's been shared up until now. And I was bombarded with hundreds of messages, from parents who were saying, that's me, I have all these chronic health conditions, I don't have any support networks. And that was where the seed was planted for Thrive Tribe & Co. And at that stage, it wasn't Thrive Tribe & Co. It was just an idea. But it was an idea that I knew I had to do something with because it just didn't sit well with me. So then Steph did see that video and she had met me previously. And we hooked up again at a networking meeting and connected over Steph having a really rough time with Charlie at gymnastics.
Yeah.
She felt judged. She felt like no one understood her. And I remember them telling us we had to do this speed dating activity at networking. And we were like, nope, we're just staying here.
We're not participating today. This is more important. So, in those days as well, it was very early days with Charlie. We didn't know what was going on. We knew that there was some, we were kind of just walking the path. And it was almost like the universe put Sandy in my path and went, right, okay, so you're going to choose now what you do with this experience. So, yeah, I
drew my idea on a napkin for Steph. The health wheel that I was it's going to take the world by storm, which I'm not sure it did that. However, it was the concept that started it all. And Steph looked at me and said, I'm in. And I was like, okay. So we went home and told our husbands that we were starting a business with a strange lady that we'd met at networking. And they were both like, really? Is she okay? And we're like, we think so.
Cool.
So that was where Thrive Tribe & Co. began. And September was this post. So it really was really quickly after that all happened. It isn't, Mavis. The napkin isn't framed, and I wish I had that napkin somewhere.
I wish we had it.
It's a bit of memorabilia. But yeah, so by the 19th of September in 2018, Thrive Tribe had a name. So that's where we remember it took us a whole meeting to come up with a name.
I remember, and Sandy had this big like art book like she under her arm, and she was like, I'm just gonna, and we went to this cafe and we spent like hours in this cafe like writing ideas and like frantically like different names and different it was, but I remember being so inspired after that day. Like,
look how young we look. We're like spring
awesome.
chickens.
We're so fresh faced.
Oh wow. All right, so then all of this amazingness happened. So from 2018 to now, we've had workshops. Workshops were just like the beginning of, you know, of such amazing stuff. Like I love teaching in person. This is obviously before the Rona come and did what it did. But we did our Penrith Workshop, which, how many did we have at that? 40 something?
Yeah, there were 42, I think.
Yeah.
And our mums were at the front, like
our mums were our helpers.
It was great.
And then we went to Melbourne. Melbourne was so fun. Like, it was so great to meet a whole different group of people. That room was just magic. Like the women in that room were so amazing. So from that, then we created lots of online resources like wellness programs. We've got 6 different 28-day projects. We've got 11 projects. We've got 2 and 3 day, 2 and 3 week workshops and stuff like that. So there's been lots of online stuff thanks to the pandemic that come in, and then so many amazing online meetups. And these photos just make my heart so happy. That's a dress up one down the bottom. You remember that one?
I feel like they got us through. Honestly, those meetups or those like online meetups throughout Rona got me through because they were silly. Like, we put a theme on them, and they were like my only source of connection to the world. Like, all of us had the same viewpoint, I suppose. But and
then we had our first retreat, which was like, we put all these ladies on a bus. We didn't tell them where we were going. They just knew they were going with a group of mums, and it was magic, that retreat. Like, I feel like that really set the foundation for what we wanted to do with Thrive Tribe & Co. And the relationships that formed out of that really showed us what was possible when mums could come together and support one another and feel understood and valued, which is really, the ethos of what we do. So, there's plenty of light bulb moments during that sort of first year. And then all the meetups and retreats after that, there's been so many. I had to really cull the photos. I want to put them all on. Like, there's so many of them. And each of them brings back such beautiful memories with different people and, different breakthroughs and moments. So don't worry, we're not announcing retreats are gone today. So the retreats are happening. Retreats will continue because they're really, really awesome. Steph, go on. I've been waffling. You.
No. I'm loving just looking at all of the photos, because I think sometimes we get caught up in the busyness and forget to look back at all the awesome stuff that's happened. And, just for a bit of context, I'd never, ever gotten up and spoken in front of anyone before Thrive Tribe & Co. Like, that first Penrith event, 3 years ago today, I was like, hi.
You were amazing. No one even knew. You were so good.
Oh, but just a different person. And also, our journey wasn't mapped out then, I didn't really have a story to share yet. I just knew really that I was really humbled to be there. And I suppose 3 years on, we've got a diagnosis for our girl. We've got her into school with supports. We've grown as parents. Dave and I have grown so much, and as people, what a huge leap. And that's because of you guys. It is 100%.
Absolutely.
I'm so humbled to just have been able to do it and to continue to do it. It's awesome. I'm not going to cry.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
So our big announcement today is that we're evolving. So this is, I've had some people going, is this the end? I feel like you're saying goodbye. We're not at all saying goodbye, but Thrive Tribe & Co. is evolving. So look, we really know the life-changing impact that these relationships and friendships and supports can have for our mums. And our new journey, so our evolution, is going to help us to reach more families and make more of an impact in our community. Steph's going to cry. Look, it's coming.
I'm not going to cry. I feel like I'm having to remind myself to breathe today.
All right, introducing Kindship. Woo-hoo! So Kindship, I just love the name. So Kindship is a no, there's nothing wrong with emotions.
Exactly, Mavis.
Oh, Trude's crying.
Good, happy tears for the evolution,
yeah.
right?
So Kindship is a combination of three words, and it's kindness, friendship, and kinship. And I just think that describes what we do at what we've created in this community. So Kindship is its own app, which we are super excited about, because I was thinking about this morning about how to explain it. Like, I feel like we've been playing in a really cool sand pit, but the sand pit wasn't ours. So we've been borrowing someone else's sand pit, and at any moment someone could come and change the sand pit or remove the toys, and this is going to be our own thing. So our own place where we get to design it with you. It's built by parents just like you, and it's going to be our own space. So go, Steph.
I just think it's really funny because we had been saying for years, like, oh, wouldn't it be great to have an app? And people had been saying, like, oh, an app. And we're like, yeah, like 100%, but that's just not within our skill set. Like, we're, and we know that now more than ever. So it's funny how we've just been presented with this amazing opportunity, which we're sharing with you.
So. And we will explain how. So don't worry. We'll tell you the story. We love to tell stories.
Too much, yeah.
So what is it? It's a social space for parents of children and adults with disabilities. So it's a safe space for you to meet new people. You can ask questions. It's like what we have in our current community, but in our own space. And the beauty of this is that we're going to keep building it with you, so we can bring you what you want. So you don't need to be limited by current features. So let's go through a few things. So it's available on the App Store and on Google Play Store. So whatever device you have, you will be able to get that. And there's different ways that you can connect through the app. So some different features that you may not have seen before. I don't know if the next slide has that on there. So I suppose what's different, maybe we should go through what's different. That might help people to understand. Sure. So one of the things that's different with Kindship is that we have a news feed similar to what you would do with group. Is that Luna?
Yes, it is.
The dog's destroying the house.
Yes.
So the news feed in Kindship allows you to filter by different topics. So if you're looking specifically for NDIS related stuff, you'll be able to filter your newsfeed by that. If you want to get see some different things on therapy, you'll be able to filter by that. And what's going to happen is we've got 7 topics at the moment, but they're growing and evolving as well. So eventually it will be like a whole library of parent experiences in each topic, which really excites me because we know how often similar topics come up all the time. And if you can have that resource where you can really quickly jump in and only see the things that you want to see at that time, it's going to be so helpful for you.
Yeah. And I also love that it's ever changing. So like hearing the long-term vision without, going through everything, there's always ideas that are kind of building and looking at. So there'll be new features constantly being released, different ways to connect. So this is really just the beginning for us, and you guys get to help us co-create it, which is the even more exciting part.
Yes, which we'll go into in a little bit. Thanks, Faith. We're so excited. Lots of love in the comments. So let's just go through a couple of these. So this is a brand new feature that has literally just come out over the weekend, which is called an audio room. So what this means is, I know we used to run a lot of our online programs through our website and things like that, and they were paid programs. So what this is going to mean for you guys is that you get to get into Kindship, which is, again, a free app. And then through the audio rooms, we'll be able to do a lot more of our content that we were doing through our projects and stuff through the audio room. So there's going to be so much more that you have to gain from this space in terms of resources and information. The audio rooms are also going to be cool for daily connections with one another. So think, okay, you just dropped the kids off to school, going to sit down for a cuppa. Oh, I'll just get on coffee and chat, and I'll talk to some other mums while I'm having a coffee, so I don't have to do it by myself. Or
we did like a little practice one yesterday, and honestly, like I just finished yoga and I had a coffee and I was like, oh, I'm going to get in there. And I like just plugged in and we had a chat and it was so refreshing. Like I'm in love with it. So we can't wait for you guys to experience it.
You can connect with people individually in the app, and this feature is really cool. So it's kind of like it'll match you based on your location. So the idea is that as we get more people into the app, it will match you to people who are closest to you. So you'll be able to build up your local support networks. So it'll bring them up in this little feature here that looks like the big profile photo. And you can choose, if you swipe up ways, you can match with that person and you can start having a chat, kind of like Messenger. And then you can look at their profile and check out, so what are their interests? What diagnoses do their kids have? Like what, areas are they interested in? And then you can start matching with people based on that as well. So your interests and your location, which is really cool. And then again, we've got like a news feed function, which is very similar in terms of like what we do in the Connect group. So what you'll start seeing with the Connect group is that will start to gradually change, because these posts of asking for support or advice are going to be over into the Kindship app, which everyone can have access to. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, all good. Keep rolling.
All right. So I suppose our focus is always about connecting you with people who get it. So you feel understood and you feel valued. And our mission at Kindship is really about empowering you. So empowering you with information, empowering you with support networks, because when you do that, we truly believe you can change the world. So that's why we're co-designing this space with you. So there'll be lots of like opportunities for you to contribute to this space as well. All right.
Also,
so
just quickly. If anyone has any questions and I can manage it, please ask, and we can address them at the end of the call as well. I can bring them up. Okay. Awesome. Continue.
Okay. So the main things that we're promoting through the website with the app are connecting. So again, that's like with this Connect feature where you can match and chat with people in your local area with similar interests. Learnings. So there'll be different audio room topics on NDIS or on parent self-care, on behavior management, on like all the different things that we want to hear about, right? So throughout the week, there'll be lots of different opportunities for you to jump on and learn, but also to connect in real time with people who get it. And I know how important it is sometimes to just get on and go, oh, what a morning. How often do we do that? And just think, oh, I wish I could chat with somebody. I know poor Shawnee's been having a morning this morning. We've been hearing about it in our messages. So like, wouldn't it be cool to be able to jump on and be able to actually talk to people who get it in that space? And then sharing. So sharing the wins, the challenging moments, the ideas, the tips, the stuff that we're doing, but in a space that's just for us. I just think is so incredibly important. So our audio room events and programs, so that'll give you free access to heaps of the resources we've already designed to help you with parent health, wellness, and wellbeing. So all the stuff that we've already created, there'll be lots of that sort of stuff going through the audio room events and programs. Beautiful. So what will be happening is the events for Kindship will also be promoted in our current Connect group. So you'll get reminded to jump over and make sure that you're in that in the Kindship app. The newsfeed, as I said, is categorized, so it can help you find topics more easily. The match and chat, you've got that feature. We've got a blog who is run by the beautiful Tara Thompson, who is just like a wealth of information. And that will then translate to themes of the week in the app. So there'll be lots of cool tips and tricks. Tara's particularly got some expertise in play therapy and making learning and therapy fun, which is like some of her ideas are so cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'll encourage you to go take a look at the blog as well. It's on Circle. It's so cool. I've seen it. I've actually seen it shared a couple of times this weekend. I'm like, oh, it's already out there. So go take a look. It's awesome.
It is. And then, so more connections for you guys. So you're going to start seeing more meetups popping up. And I know lots of people have been like, when's the meetup coming here? And when's the meetup coming to where I live? So, we have a team now and we're starting to expand that team. So we want to hear where you want meetups. And we've been putting some posts into the Kindship app to start gauging which areas that people want them in. So you guys know, we currently have Penrith. Steph's going to kick off one with a few people on the Central Coast. We've got one kicking off in Adelaide with Tabitha, who's one of our Kind Folk volunteers. She's the host for Adelaide. There'll be one at Coffs Harbour with Hannah and Trude. So there's lots going on, but they will expand. So you've got opportunities to not only connect online on the app, but also in real time and face to face with me.
Wouldn't that be amazing to and this will happen, but just think about it, picture it, a meetup in every suburb, or being able to be oh, there's one in the suburb next to me, I'm just going to go to that tomorrow. Or if you can't go, there's one next week. That's the end goal. So this app can be in your pocket as a little resource to connect. And if you're open to it, you can actually meet people face to face really near to you. It's not just going to exist in the Penrith area. So exciting.
And then the last part is this co-design process, which you've heard me say a couple of times. So this is really important to us and to the other founders, is that we're not just creating something for you to use. We want you to help design it with us so it gives you what you need and want from a community space. So we've been a bit sneaky. We've had about 70 of our current community helping us with our co-design for the past couple months. And some of the stuff they've come up with has been so great. And that's really exciting for them to start seeing it implemented now in the app. They're like, oh, I recommended that, or oh, that was my feedback, or, so this is not just a set and forget. This is evolving with you. And what you'll find is there's new things being released. So shortly there's going to be group messages released, and then we're going to have group message chats for local areas, which will be great, again, for you to connect with people who are nearby. Our product team is pretty amazing. So they've been coming up with some cool options. All right, so how do you get involved? So all you have to do is download the free Kindship app. So again, it's on the App Store, it's in the Google Play Store. So it's Kindship, so KINDSHIP. You create your profile. Now it does ask you a few questions in the profile because we want to keep our space really safe. So we need to know a few things about you, but don't stress. It's all your information is safe. But we need to make sure that we've got the right people in our app. So you join in the app and in the in-person events and meetups when you see fit. And then if you're someone who, thank you, Steph, for putting that link in. And if you're someone who really loves it, we actually have an option to get more involved. We have a volunteer program where there's different incentives for you guys helping us out with creating and sustaining a really safe and positive and welcoming community. So there's lots of ways that you can get involved. But I feel so much better now. I'm not nervous anymore.
Me too. I just needed to get it off our chest. I think.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for so long, but but keeping it a secret too. So it's nice to have it all out there. So you'll probably see lots of pictures popping up today of people you know where it says, my mum's on Kindship. So if you want one of those, talk to Steph.
Oh my God. Already people are like, where's mine? I'm like, oh, it's coming. So, but do ask me if you want one. So why not?
All right. So we're about to introduce you to someone really special, but I thought we would quickly share our founder story. So the person we're going to introduce you to, her name is Summer. So Summer, I actually know Summer from Imi's school. So she's a speech therapist by trade, and Summer is actually autistic herself. So she was undiagnosed growing up and Summer saw the loneliness and isolation that families can experience when their child doesn't quite fit, the standard, fit the mold, fit the box. So she interviewed lots and lots of people. This has been a journey of years for Summer, like similar years to us, maybe even a little bit longer. And we initially met Summer at an event we did. You guys might remember. It was called Find My Tribe, wasn't it, Steph? It was for the T21 community. That's where we met Tracy, who I believe was on this morning. Yeah. And her original company was called Able Finder. So we will talk to you a little bit about that. But it is Kindship. It was just its previous name. So then in December, Summer and her husband reached out to us and said, what do you think? What if we brought all of our goodness together? We've got the tech, you've got the amazing community. What if we just combined forces and brought this to the world? And we were like, sounds
and
awesome.
Here we are.
Here we are. Yes. So a few months later, here we are. So we'd love to introduce you to Summer, who is the Kindship co-founder and CEO. She is a mum, a wife, a speech pathologist, and an all-round epic human being. So
yeah, she is.
Summer in.
Yeah, bring her in. Hi. Ta-da.
Hi. Gosh, I feel like that's a big thing to live up to, all-round epic human.
You are.
That means a lot coming from you guys. Well done. I feel like I know what the vibe was pre-call, so you got through that very well without tears. I almost cried when I was listening to you. So, very, very excited to be here.
So do you want to share a little bit? I know I just shared a little bit about the journey, but can you just from your perspective, share, where did this whole concept for the app come from? What was it that, was your moment? I mean, mine was that article. What was your moment?
Oh, that's a big question. I've been thinking about it a bit this morning. I think I had probably a lot of moments that eventually built up to the bubble of the idea that Kindship started with. I think to start off with, for myself growing up, there was, a lot of confusion because I always recognized that I was a little bit different to my peers and because of various things kind of struggled to make friends and really understand that whole social aspect of life. I think also my childhood wasn't necessarily a happy one, I would say, and family has always been this thing that I just strived for in my life. Family to me is just the most sacred and beautiful thing. And then I became a speech therapist. My mum actually is mostly deaf. She does have a hearing aid, but she refuses to wear it. So I spent my childhood yelling at her and not getting any response. But that was kind of what steered me down that path. And then just really gravitated towards working with kids with various disabilities throughout my degree. And then came out straight out of uni and landed at Giant Steps, which was the most incredible place to start off my career. The families and the students there were just so beautiful. But I think it really surprised me that even though we were part of this school community, it felt like there was still quite a lot of disconnect between the parents. And because of that, it felt like the staff were often leaned on by some parents, not necessarily everybody, to be that kind of emotional support, which obviously we were more than happy to be. But I guess I always felt a little bit not qualified because I was I don't know what it means to take your child home at the end of the day. And yes, I can be empathetic, but I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to say the right thing. So I guess that was really where the bubble started of what could it mean if we built that community? And also I found as a speechy, I was often deferring to parents when it came to their recommendations of apps that their kids loved or therapy ideas that their kids loved. And it felt most of the families I was working with probably knew more about speech than I did, just because they'd done that amount of research and trying to be the best support that they could be for their kids. So it was also what could that mean for a family's journey if we were able to bring together all of that information? But I think at the time, and I'll just motor on with this, so interrupt me. I just talk. But yeah, I was really conscious. It was about the time that the NDIS was being rolled out, and I heard a lot of families talking about being quite skeptical about, people not necessarily having the best intentions when it came to wanting to be involved in their family, especially where there was services involved. So I wanted to make sure that if we were going to build something, that it was very much directed and guided by parent experience. So that led me to interviewing those. It was about 500 parents to start off with, which for somebody that hates phone calls with a passion, like that was the most terrifying thing for a year of doing that. My husband and I, we also moved over to Bulgaria just because we couldn't afford to live in Australia and be doing this. I left my job. So that was a experience of its own. It was really interesting though being over there because in that sort of Eastern European culture, and I don't mean to make like generalizations, but there was this kind of feeling that disability was something to be ashamed of and it was hidden. And, so I ended up connecting with families over there who had children on the spectrum who just had zero supports. Like they couldn't even to the point where they weren't allowed to take their children to school unless they had their parent there the whole day with them. And, the parents couldn't afford to not work. So these kids just weren't allowed to access school. So that kind of reinforced for me, I think, like the positiveness of like community and support and connection. So for about 2 years, Andreas, my husband, called this my expensive hobby because I don't think he necessarily saw it, evolving to the stage that it has. But we started building our first app, which brought us back to Australia. So we actually participated in what's called an accelerator. So it's kind of like a program where they surround you with like mentors and they give you a little bit of money, and it's supposed to just accelerate your whole tech journey. So we did that through the Cerebral Palsy Alliance and came out with our first app, which, as Sandy mentioned, was called Able Finder. And that really was just that first like match and chat aspect of kindship, because I think that's what we saw as not being so available elsewhere in terms of that like just peer-to-peer connection. And then what happened, we had people sort of talking to us like as we were going, saying, I'm not sure if Able Finder is the right name for you. I think there's, like thoughts around ableism and, potentially playing on that word of able and what did that actually mean? And we didn't like when I came up with that name in the beginning, I had no idea what kindship was going to be. So it was just a placeholder, I guess. So we listened to that feedback and we ended up coming up with the name kindship, which, as Sandy mentioned, we really wanted to capture that idea of friendship and family and kindness, which we really wanted to sit at like the heart of kindship, because can
we focus on for a second just that, because this is actually really important to the kindship ethos, is that you are always wanting to listen to what parents wanted and needed. And that's where the whole co-design aspect of kindship comes from. So I think that's actually a really important part of the story, that from the beginning, like you were like, oh, the name doesn't suit. Hold on, we need to listen to that, because if we want parents to feel welcome in this community and use it and own it, they have to vibe with what the name is. Like basically
it's actually built into the brand. And I think that's one thing, like when we were talking to our community initially, it was really important for also us to relay it correctly as per your vision, Summer. Like it's not just for launch, we want some feedback on a form. Like we actually need our community to make this everything that it needs to be. And it had like so far just watching everybody get involved and participate and really like behind the dream is awesome. So I can't wait for this to just grow. It's going to be awesome.
No, you're 100% right. Even when so from those 500 interviews that I did, we ended up having 200 families join our sort of founding group. And so we built the first version of kindship with them. So yeah, from day one. And I think that also came from, an understanding that, that we needed to have that parent perspective. It would be impossible to build an app like this without it being 100% guided by parents. So yes. And then what happened was we changed our name to kindship, and then we had this blue and yellow kind of, color palette, and then parents said to us that it felt like a hospital waiting room, and they didn't want.
I didn't get that vibe, but like, okay.
Well, so that sort of, but you know, the thought was, how can we make it feel more earthy and warm and inviting and everything that we wanted Kindship to be. So again, we changed it to our new color palette.
That Able Finder name changed like quite early on though. It was like, because I remember when did we do the app? When did we do the event with you? It must have been.
That was 2019 because Sunny was 5 weeks old.
Right. Okay. So we did an event with Able Finder, that Find Your Tribe conference, and it was Able Finder then, and then Kindship evolved in 2020. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And I think, like, fast forward, because I could talk, it's been a long time, as Annie and Steph said, but I think what we kind of came to the point of last year was we can build the most amazing tech in the world, and we can build space for a heart. Like, you know, there was always, we built our technology around the idea of it having a heart, but I think it was always like, how do we make that heart beat? And we could have tried our best, but I didn't feel confident that that was something that we were going to be able to do to the extent that we wanted to change the world. And I think that's when we reached out to you and Sandy, Steph and Sandy, to see whether you would even be interested in joining forces, because I think always the community that you have built has kind of been the blueprint for us in terms of the support that's available and just the culture that exists, where it's so positive and warm and friendly. And I think that was always what we were aiming to live up to with Kindship. So it was just like, why try and, you know, replicate when we can hopefully join forces and through that be able to, you know, do even bigger things together.
Well, so you are right. Our community is pretty amazing.
It's incredible.
Not gonna lie.
But I think I always felt like, you know, the chances of a parent who had just got a new diagnosis finding your community, you know, if they did, that would be amazing. But how many other Facebook groups potentially would they have to filter through to find that? And I think that's where we're hoping that through Kindship, we're going to be able to sort of provide, I know it's not going to be necessarily an easy landing, but a soft landing for those parents that are looking for that community and knowledge and just like sense of, you know, people understand. And I think that's really what we're aiming for with Kindship.
And I know we've talked a lot about, like, in the lead up, this culture that we want for Kindship, and that, like, we were always very particular from the beginning, weren't we, Steph? Like, this is a place for, like, you can certainly have your moment and talk about the hard stuff, but we're not going to unpack and live there. We want to support one another, lift each other up, and come up with some solutions that people can try. And it makes me really excited that we can bring that ethos into Kindship and create that for, like, a you know, expand upon that for many, many more benefits.
I'm already seeing that happen. Like, it's so wonderful to see people go, oh, look, I'm having this, like, hard day, this has happened, and then people are empathetic and sympathetic, which we all 100% need, but then they'll be like, oh, have you tried this, or do they have, like, this sensory item or whatever, you know? So it's great that there are, like, shared experiences there and solutions, and now that is already happening within the app. It's the best.
I think the other thing that's really exciting for me is we've always, like, with Kindship, we didn't want this to be, you know, like you just live on the app and that's it. You know, it's not about trapping parents online and that being their whole social space. It's about how we can use that as, you know, as much of a resource and as support as people want, but also how can we start to build communities in community where they need to exist. And that's something that I'm so excited about. And also, just as Sandy said, like, the fact that the retreats are definitely going to keep going, because I think that's where we see almost like the magic of what I think we're trying to create when, you know, and I haven't been able to, I haven't had the chance to attend one, but I'm so excited to, but I've seen so many photos and videos and heard from the ladies about just what that looks like in terms of, you know, people really, really connecting and just finding that sense of, like, I guess, kinship, you know.
I feel like this is going to allow us to bring all of the awesome best bits and just, like, amplify them. Like, make them better.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've actually gone longer, but like than I thought. However, like it kind of needed it. I feel like it's as long as it needs to be. But so to celebrate, we would love to celebrate with you. Can you just share the slideshow again, please, Steph?
One moment.
So to celebrate, we are running a online summit for you guys. So a launch summit, which is kicking off this Thursday. Thank you, Steph. I was about to say Friday, but it's Thursday. Steph's like, it's Thursday. So it's a 3-day event. So each day there is a couple of hours of program for you guys. So the first day, Steph and I will be kicking off with a presentation around the value of carers in our world. And then we are interviewing an amazing panel of mums. Like, they're ordinary mums. They're from our community. However, they're doing really extraordinary things. And I suppose, like, the concept of this is to really inspire you, to show you that, you know, you are capable of anything that you set your mind to. So we've got Christy Fisher, who is a breast cancer survivor. We've got Hannah Smith, who's an up-and-coming children's book author, and Linda Fennick, who owns her own awesome salon business out at Richmond, and she's also a really fierce NDIS advocate. So you be prepared to be inspired on Thursday morning. Day 2, we have Mel Dimmitt, who is the author of Special, which is kind of like the Bible for parents of kids with disabilities. And we will be giving you guys a special session in the app in our audio rooms on the power of connection, and what that's meant to many of our community members. And then day 3, we have experts for you and kindship team members, Tara, who we mentioned before. So Tara Thompson, she's going to talk about the power of play. And then Summer will be sharing her personal experiences as an autistic adult and the kindship story. So we would love you to join us for that. So if you just go to the kindship Facebook page, I believe, Steph.
Yep, it should be embedded there and pinned to the top as well, so you absolutely can't miss it.
So
but we'll be posting
more.
We'll be posting more this week, and then I'll send out some links as well so that you can join us, and you won't miss it.
Yep. So make sure you share that with anyone you think will benefit. Again, it's a free event. You just literally jump on, and it'll be similar format to this, in that, it's in StreamYard, and this will stay on the page. It will stay on the page as well, Steph.
It will. It'll stay on the page, and I think we're live in a couple of places right now, and it'll be the same for the summit as well. So we will be haunting you.
We'll be everywhere. You can't miss us.
Exactly.
So actually, you can stop. I did it. Okay. So we would really love your help as well in sharing the word about what we're doing with kindship. Like, this doesn't work without you guys. You guys are really the heart of this. You have created the culture. Like, we've been there to start it, but we've done it with you guys. And that is how kindship is going to grow and expand into a really amazing resource for our community. So please download the app today. Share it with any parents that you know who could benefit. I know many, so I'll be sending it out a lot today. If you want one of those special pictures, my mum's on kindship, message Steph. Keep her busy today.
I feel like that's my afternoon kind of. I totally don't mind though. It's fine.
Yeah. And we're just so grateful for all of your support over the past 3 years, and are really looking forward to continuing that journey with you guys. And I know change can be scary and feel weird, but I'm really excited. Steph and I, whilst we've been emotional because we feel like, it's like a evolution of a baby. We're also really, really pumped for what this will mean, because I just feel like it's the sustainable way to continue to support as many families as we can moving into the future. So we're just really grateful for you guys. Danielle, the name of the Facebook group will change to kindship, and that's where we'll be talking about a lot of the events and resources that we've got happening in the kindship app, so you guys can stay, make sure you're in the loop until you get the hang of the app. And look, we know that apps can take a little while to get used to, so please just be patient with yourself, ask questions. It does just take a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, you get the hang of it, it's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing to note. The Thrive name is disappearing. Yes. However, we are not disappearing. We are still us. We're still here. And just the ways that we are showing up will be a little bit different moving forward. So I think there's like a big tie to the original brand. But like if you look at it a little bit differently, that's all we're kind of asking.
So you did your job really well, Steph, with branding. Do you know what though? From like a practical perspective, just so you guys, Mavis says, if I can use it, I'm sure anyone will be able to use it. I was a bit like that too. I'm not the most techno-savvy person. But from a practical perspective, to be really honest with you, anytime Steph and I get introduced anywhere, no one ever gets our business name right. They never said Thrive, Tribe and Co. Never. Yeah. Like it'd be like Thrive, Tribe. Like it was always a problem.
Thrive Co. Like, yeah.
So I feel like Kindship's going to be like super simple and express everything that we want to express without being a tongue twister.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. If you stuck in the whole time, you're amazing. That was a long one. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you on Thursday for our launch summit. Can't wait to see you then.
Bye, guys. See ya.